welcome to another video from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander, and today we are unboxing Fortress Europa, the Allied campaign across Western Europe. It's a game designed by John Edwards, and it's from Compass Games, and this is part of their Designer Signature Edition. And they've slowly been working their way through some of these very old, popular games from former game companies and redoing them, just making them much more up to date, but they're still great old classic games. So this one's fresh, hot off the presses, and on the back of it, he says it's upside down. It's a big two-mapper, and there's a couple of different scenarios, so to speak, that you can play with it. But really, it takes about, if you do the full campaign, this is, it can be a long 8 to 10 hour game, but some of the smaller scenarios can be much shorter, 2 to 4 hours. You can play them in one go. Plays one, it's a two-player game, but there's nothing stopping you playing at one. What we'll do is we will crack this open and get a good look inside. So it comes with a couple of D6s, and we have the rules of play, which is, let's see, from Compass, that's 32 pages. Rules, scenario. So the actual rules themselves, about 28 pages. Look to be very decently organized. This is full color, matte, regular printed paper. Decent examples. And this is a big part of this Designer Signature Edition. It brings the rules into the modern era, because I'm not that old school. I'm only 30 years old, and some of those rule books, it's like reading a different language to me. Maybe I just need to suck it up, but having a fresh new set of rules makes these much, much more accessible to me. Now there's a whole bunch of cards in here. Alright, I'll leave the counters for a second. There's an absolute ton of cards here, and it's a bunch of different stuff. So we have, this is Battle of the Bulge Allied OOB. This is just for the Bulge scenario that you play. Then there's Allied Arrival Schedule as well, with reinforcements from England and Africa. So this goes all the way from June 1944 all the way down to, let's see, presumably 45, you get down to March down here. December, January, February. Okay, great. This is the initial game setup. You can see it starts in England. You'll do the D-Day landings. So this is the German Bulge only scenario OOB. And we have played with expanded sequence of play, so we'll keep this handy. The back of it has terrain effects chart, unit designation with all the native symbols, and a little chip explanation there. And we have CRT, paradrops, weather charts, invasion sequence. Obviously, doing the landings always has their own separate set of rules. Then we have 2 German arrival schedules. With what looks like a Panzer holding box. And then it's got some special rules about Panzer reserves and the various military districts and how that's divvied up. Here we have aircraft mission chart. So you can run various strafing, carpet bombs, U-boat attack stuff, and the Germans can do the same thing. And then there's an advanced aircraft mission chart, which also has fuel production tracks and reserves and all that goodness, if you want to do that. This is the basic campaign initial game setup chart. So a lot of this stuff, like those Bulge ones, you're not going to use them if you're playing the main campaign game. So these are the 2 main kind of game charts, with all the replacement levels, replacement tracks, supply capacity charts, and all your different available and used assets and things like that. This is a second version of the sequence of play, and the terrain effects chart, so both players can have one. And again, here was those CRTs and paratrops. So there's a lot of card in there, but really, you're only going to use half of that if you're playing either of the scenarios kind of thing. If you're playing the main campaign, you don't use any of that Bulge stuff. If you're only doing the Bulge stuff, you don't use any of that initial game and all that D-Day landing stuff. So, the rest of what we have in here is we have 3 sheets of counters. These are compass game counters. The first one, so you got Fogstorm, and then a bunch of different markers more than anything else on this one. Some of them are double-sided. So this is more, kind of, more administrative stuff. Really, it's only 2 major sheets of units, which I actually really like. And these are pretty large counters. These aren't your typical tiny, you know, they make them like 5/8 of an inch. These are a good size. I don't know exactly what size they are. It doesn't say on there, but these are much bigger than the tiny little ones that you get in some games. But very, very clear, very crisp. A big change from like the old Victory Point or the Victory games in Avalon Hill. It was tiny little things and they were off-center. These are nice, good coloring on them. I really like these. And what I really like is this isn't a lot of counters. I like a game that has low counter density. If I'm going to play a big game, I don't want to play big stacks on a big game, typically speaking. So there's 2 maps. We'll kind of crack these open. If I've got a big 2 mapper like this, it's nice to have big hexes and a pretty low counter density, because then I can actually, it's manageable. It's not some overwhelming beast. So this is the western map, oh, the eastern map, I apologize. So you have on here a lot of those play charts, all that stuff's on here if you want to. But the map stretches all the way from down in Salzburg, down here, all the way up to Amsterdam, up in the north. This is what I would call a functional map. So you've got some rail lines, rivers, a couple of different terrain types. But the game isn't detracting from its gameplay by having an incredibly busy map. It's the right way around. This is the other map. A lot of open space for maneuvers in between all the different rivers and terrain types. Paris. So you've got your D-Day landings that you're going to do all up here. Yeah, that's going to be right here. That's what I presume all of these landing points are for. And there's a lot of different arrows and things like that with directions. But this is it, really. The game doesn't have a lot, there's nothing else in here. Couple of maps, couple of counter sheets, ton of card in there, and some rules. And I'm expecting these games that they reprint in this designer's signature edition are usually ones that have withstood the test of time. So I'm excited to play this one, see what it is. I mean, it's going to be land and race across, but doing it well, doing it efficiently, and making the best of it. But quality-wise, this is a pretty heavy paper, which I like. And the map's I'm not overwhelmed by all the stuff on the map. This is very functional. With all my nice green and grey counters, it's going to be a good experience. So, I am very excited to play this. Especially, and again, because it's an older game that they're redoing. I know a lot of you guys have played the original one of this. It'd be cool to see how it stands up and, you know, remembering the good old days when you used to play the old version if a new version's just as good, you know. So, appreciate you guys tuning in for an unboxing of this. We're going to get this one played sooner rather than later. This is Fortress Europa, Allied campaign across Western Europe from Compass Games. And I've been Alexander from theplayersaid.com.